Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're jumping right into the massive shift happening in education. We're talking about moving away from the old school ways of learning and building a high-tech, human-centric educational ecosystem. We are going to break down the integration of AI, the future of the classroom, and how all of this ties directly into the UAE's strategic vision. So let's just dive right in. We've got 4 main stops on our roadmap today, starting at the student level and zooming all the way out to national strategy. Number 1, digital citizenship. Number 2, 21st century skills. 3, AI integration. And 4, the UAE Vision 2031. All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, digital citizenship. At its core, digital citizenship is essentially the rulebook for navigating the online world safely and ethically. It's all about the norms, behaviors, and responsibilities we take on when we use tech. And listen, understanding this is the absolute prerequisite for any kind of modern learning. Because students are living their lives online more than ever before, educators absolutely have to guide them to be safe, responsible digital citizens. It is the absolute bedrock of digital agency today. Now, this concept is actually surprisingly broad. It spans 5 key dimensions, so it's way more than just knowing your way around a keyboard. It covers digital literacy, like, can you actually evaluate if a source is credible? But it also goes deep into digital health and well-being. Think about managing screen time so it doesn't totally wreck your mental and physical health. You've also got digital etiquette, rights, and security in the mix. You really need all 5 of these working together to be fully digitally literate. So, what does digital citizenship in practice actually look like? Well, for educators, it requires a really deliberate step-by-step approach. Step 1, you've got to lead by example. Teachers have to model that ethical online behavior themselves. Then step 2 is weaving it right into the lesson plans, having real talks about copyright or online privacy. Step 3 is cultivating collaboration, maybe using shared wiki drives or collaborative docs. And finally, step 4 is actively monitoring and guiding those student interactions. It's totally hands-on. Moving right along to Section 2, 21st century skills. When we talk about implementing 21st century skills, we're talking about the crucial, real-world abilities needed for success in modern society. The entire educational reform movement rests on this one massive pivot. We are moving entirely away from traditional rote learning, just blindly memorizing facts, and shifting toward deeply adaptable human abilities, like critical and creative thinking. Honestly, this is how we actually future-proof careers. And we can group these skills into 6 essential clusters. The big takeaway here is that students have to master both the hard technological competencies and the soft skills. Yes, they absolutely need ICT and digital literacy. That's cluster 4. But take a look at clusters 5 and 6. We're talking life and career skills, like adaptability, alongside social and emotional skills, like empathy and leadership. A truly future-ready student needs top-tier emotional intelligence just as much as they need analytical reasoning. This represents a complete classroom revolution. We're flipping the script from the old model of passive consumption and standardized testing over to a highly active, project-based environment. Students are researching, they're presenting, they're collaborating. It frees up time for higher-order thinking and something super important, metacognitive reflection. That's where students actually pause and ask themselves, okay, what learning strategies actually worked for me today? Of course, we can't just gloss over the roadblocks here. A major challenge in making the shift is the massive gap in teacher training. Plus, think about it. How do you reliably assess something abstract like creativity or collaboration on a standard test? It's tough. And most importantly, we have to ensure equitable access. Because the reality is, not all students have the same devices or reliable internet at home, and we can't leave anyone behind. All right, let's jump into Section 3, AI integration. The timeline for this technological leap isn't some distant future. It is happening right now. Following the launch of the UAE Vision 2031 back in 2022, public schools will officially integrate AI curricula starting in the 2025 to 2026 academic year. The clock is ticking toward that 2031 target, with the goal of having foundational AI knowledge woven right into the fabric of society. Now, for ethical and practical AI integration, we are adopting a specific competency framework. The whole point here is to transform students from being just passive consumers of AI into critically thinking creators. They need to understand what an algorithm actually is, apply tools like chatbots effectively, know the ethical boundaries, critically evaluate the outputs, because we definitely can't just blindly trust them, and ultimately use AI to supercharge their own creativity. We also have to draw a hard line between what AI can do and what it simply cannot. AI is phenomenal at data analytics, personalized pacing, and automated grading. It's a game changer of an augmentation tool, but no way can it ever replace a human teacher. Teachers bring the emotional support, the mentorship, and the empathy that an algorithm literally cannot replicate. Think of it this way. AI does the heavy lifting on the data, but humans do the heavy lifting on the soul. But this doesn't come without some serious real-world warnings. We're facing major ethical risks. Algorithms can easily embed biases straight from their training data. We've got massive privacy and data security concerns for the students, and maybe the most insidious risk is deskilling. The danger that relying too much on AI to write an essay or solve a problem actually degrades a student's core human abilities. Educational policies desperately need to define clear oversight to prevent this. And finally, Section 4, the UAE Vision 2031. Let's look at the strategic alignment with the UAE Vision 2031 and see how these classroom concepts map to the macro level. The nation's 10-year plan is built on 4 main pillars: forward society, forward economy, forward diplomacy, and forward ecosystem. This vision explicitly demands an educational ecosystem that can pump out highly digitally literate graduates. Because let's face it, you cannot build a forward economy that diversifies away from oil without human capital that knows exactly how to innovate and leverage digital infrastructure. To really wrap our heads around the immense economic scale of this strategy, get this. The vision targets doubling the national GDP from 1.49 trillion to a whopping 3 trillion dirhams by 2031. That level of massive economic growth requires absolutely unprecedented levels of productivity, and ethical, practical AI integration is the key driver projected to actually get us across that finish line. Right now, about 40% of the workforce has what we'd call good digital skills. But if we're going to hit that 3 trillion dirham goal, that number has to skyrocket. Mass upskilling in digital citizenship and AI isn't just a nice to have, it is an absolute economic necessity. It's exactly why the educational reforms we've been talking about today are so incredibly urgent. And we can already see this strategic vision playing out in the real world through leading institutions like the Mohammed bin Zayed University of Artificial Intelligence. They are out there actively building up the national capacity, forging key partnerships, and offering the executive-level education that's required to hit those 2031 targets. It's a perfect example of how even non-technical stakeholders can integrate AI strategy right from the top down. So, bringing it all together, it's pretty clear how this giant puzzle fits perfectly. Digital citizenship ensures our students are safe and ethical online. 21st century skills sweep away that outdated rote learning in favor of critical thinking. AI is integrated ethically to augment, absolutely not replace, our teachers. And all of these classroom-level shifts are the fundamental stepping stones fueling the UAE's 2031 knowledge economy goals. I want to leave you with this final thought to chew on. As AI gets more deeply embedded into every single piece of schoolwork, how do we actually go about promoting responsible digital citizenship, and what specific ethical guardrails do we need to be building right this second? Really think about that, because solving this exact puzzle is the key to unlocking the entire future of global education. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.